Let me try hitting something that'll actually hit back. All of this, it'd be a lot easier to take.
With this essentially being the halfway point of the season, it's probably time to promote Roy from side character to main player, considering most of the season's back half revolves around him. The episode doesn't necessarily feel crowded, but you'd think for being a Roy spotlight episode that you might want to focus on Roy. Blind Spot really took the fact that it was a Laurel spotlight episode and ran with it, but this one kinda didn't. If Oliver knows Bronze Tiger and co are in the garage, why does he just casually walk up to them instead of going in guns blazing? Or at the very least, you should have an arrow knocked and ready to go. I understand why Oliver told Roy who he was, but what I don't understand is whether Bronze Tiger knows Oliver's secret or not. Yeah, Roy was beating on him, so maybe we're supposed to assume he was unconscious, but he clearly wasn't hitting him hard enough to leave any markings on his face. Even though he was punching his face. And then we get to the Moira Queen mayoral campaign plotline, which I just know people are gonna have problems with. I'll admit, it's more than a bit of a stretch to believe that people would vote for Moira after a controversy surrounding the undertaking. I even said as much in this video. But if you separate the undertaking from the fact that Moira started out trying to protect her kids, maybe, and I can't stress that maybe enough, some people might sympathize with where she was coming from. Are there better candidates out there with the same positions? Absolutely. But it's like Walter says in the episode, there's nobody with Moira Queen's name recognition. In a weird way, it's like seeing Kanye West on your ballots. I'm sure his popularity, or more recently, infamy, is gonna get him some votes, and no, I can't believe I just made that comparison either. Although I guess Walter found out that Malcolm is Thea's bio dad off-screen. Also this.
How many people know who you are?
Too many.
Too many is a good answer! I don't even know the answer to that at this point. Felicity, Dig, Malcolm, Roy, Sarah. Derek Reston's dead, he doesn't count. Moira found out on her own, so that makes 6. Amanda Waller, 7. Slade, 8. Can't believe my ass didn't bring up Helena Bertinelli during my original recording. And the sad thing is, 8 is a small number compared to everyone in Central City knowing who Barry Allen is. Especially after the season 9 premiere. Considering this is a Roy Spotlight episode, he actually feels kinda underwritten. The episode tries to draw parallels between him and Slade, but there's no subtlety to it. And maybe that's the point, but I know this show can be subtle with its themes. So subtle, in fact, that I'm going through season 1 again with a new mindset in a later video, God help me. Roy was low-key obsessed with the arrow after he saves his life in Salvation, but Oliver did shoot him in the leg not so long ago, so it doesn't take much to convince me why he's being such an asshole. But on the other hand, Roy did say that he wanted help at the end of Blind Spot, though not necessarily in as many words. I can understand that he doesn't feel like he's learning anything from the training Oliver puts him through. It would have been interesting to see Oliver relate that back to himself from when Slade trained him at the top of the Odyssey, since that would have been a nice student becomes the teacher moment, but the episode unfortunately doesn't go for that approach. I like the exploration of Oliver's guilt complex this season. Shadow's death clearly still haunts him, even if the audience knows it's not his fault. It's almost like he's still trying to save Slade 5 years later, even though he actively says this in the episode.
I had to put an arrow through his eye.
And you know what? Fair enough. That's a major wound for Oliver as a character. I've even tried my hand at writing a character like this and wound up with a similar result. First, we see it with the Mirakuru itself appearing in Starling City, and now we get to see that fear and guilt amplified because of how it impacts Roy. You know, Thea's boyfriend. It hits really close to home for that reason. You can really tell that Bronze Tiger is scared of there being a prototype earthquake machine out there somewhere, and I think it's given just the right amount of focus in the episode, too. It's not enough to make him not do what he's paid for, but it is enough to make you realize that he's only doing this for the money. I really like that Quentin gives Laurel a reality check. One she ignores, but at least she finally got one. Quentin's willing to stand in the way of Laurel's self-destruction. That's how you really show that you care about and support someone. As for Laurel herself, though, I do understand why she's pissed off at the world. I even understand not wanting to hear that people are having it worse than you. That's the last thing you want to hear when you're in a bad mood. I just hope she doesn't go around moral grandstanding about not having a problem anymore after this. Especially after this scene, my god.
Excuse me, Can I get something with olives? I don't care what it is as long as there are a lot of olives.
I like that there's still the leftover ash on Scylla from the season 1 finale, and it's even still missing the missile that was shot as well. I appreciate the attention to detail. The new law firm Joanna works for, Weathersby and Stone, is a reference to the series Eli Stone, the series Greg Berlanti and Mark Guggenheim worked on together before they began their tenure with the Arrowverse. In fact, many familiar faces on the production side of the Arrowverse also had major production roles in Eli Stone. Carl Ogawa, Jennifer Lentz, Andrew Kreisberg, and Blake Neely. The series even starred many actors who would later go on to have Arrowverse roles, though Tom Cavanaugh is the most notable for his continued willingness to play the Flash villain Eobard Thawne. The series also features Sigourney Weaver as God. It has no bearing on anything in the Arrowverse, I just thought it was funny. The episode looks decent enough, but nothing really stands out outside of some wrist stuff at the top of the episode that I'm not gonna show you because it grossed me out enough. Oh no, we're doing wrist stuff! I guess there's the novelty of seeing Walter, Amanda Waller, Bronze Tiger, and Tommy again, though the last one is just in a photograph, but novelty isn't the only thing I should score on. My immediate response after watching this episode was to give importance a 5, but I have to play fair. Outside of Roy learning Oliver's secret, the only really important thing here is Moira's mayoral campaign announcement, a plot line that is going to be a hard pill to swallow considering her recent controversy in the courtroom. And even then, that's mostly a subplot. The flashbacks are completely skippable, and the conflict probably could have been resolved a few episodes ago at this point. Amanda Waller recruiting Bronze Tiger did not need to happen on screen. The people trying to sell Malcolm's earthquake machine are never even mentioned again to my memory. And yeah, we see more of Laurel progressively getting worse in her addiction, but it's not like we haven't seen that before. This episode definitely isn't the worst of the season, but I guess I remember liking it more than I actually do.
Does this group have a name? Like Team Arrow or something?
We don't call ourselves that.
I do. Occasionally.
Stop it.